Yo, what is going on, everyone? It's GentooMan here, also known as Rainy, and I'm really tired, but I'm trying to stay on the grind and keep making videos. So this is actually something that happened just yesterday, so I thought it was pretty interesting, and I would tell the story because it was kind of really out of nowhere, and I thought you guys would like to hear about it. And also, I just want to say we are so close to 500 subs. Like, last time I checked, I think it was at like 498. Like, I'm literally 2 subs away from 500. That's crazy to me. Thank you guys so much. But without further ado, let's get into the story. So this story time takes place just a couple days ago, just the other day. And actually it was yesterday, and I'm recording this. I don't know when it's going to go up, though. Should go up today. It was yesterday. And my mom and I and my uncle, we all flew out of the city that we live in, and we flew to a different city because we were picking up my uncle's son and my cousin, and we were bringing him back to, like, our city. And so, we woke up pretty early, and we went to the airport pretty early in the day, and got on a plane and flew out. It wasn't a very long flight. It was just like an hour or something like that. And, it wasn't even like a bad flight. Like, I spent the entire time just talking to my mom and my uncle, and it went by really fast. So that was nice. And it wasn't a super eventful day. Like, we landed, we got my cousin, we got some food, just kind of went for a walk, like looked in some shops and stuff like that. And to be honest with you, it was really, like, uneventful day. Like, I don't want to say it was boring because, like, I had a good day, but it was a pretty uneventful day. Like, there was nothing too crazy to, like, talk about. If someone had asked, like, oh, what happened? But, like, oh, like, nothing much. And it was like that for most of the day until eventually we ended up getting back to the airport because we were doing, like, a turn and burn. We, like, turn and burn. That didn't come out right. Turn and burn. So we were flying back, like, the same day in the evening, and we got back to the airport. And we were standing in line to, like, get, like, the plane tickets and all that. Like, we had them Bobby, you have to get them printed. And there was this girl in the lineup that, I kept kind of, like, quickly glancing at, because I'm like, I swear I recognize this girl. And she was like, she'd, like, make eye contact with me and look away, and, like, I'd do the same thing. And it was really weird. But I swore I recognized her from somewhere, but I couldn't place, like, where I knew her from. But, this type of thing happens to me a lot. I think I recognize a person, and then I don't actually have any idea who they are. So I kind of assumed it was another one of those scenarios, and by the time I had come to that conclusion, we were at the front of the line. We got our plane tickets printed, and we were off to go through security. We went through security, and we were just kind of, we went to the past security area, which they have, like, little, like, shops and restaurants and, like, little places to sit in front of the gates before the planes depart. And we were just kind of sitting there, just hanging out, and I decided that I was hungry. So I went over to this little cafe place, and they were selling, like, food and drinks, and I got this breakfast sandwich on a bagel and a mango loco monster. Like, I got them both out of these fridges, and they looked fantastic. It was an ice cold monster, and the sandwich was, like, it was in, like, a warmer, I think, and it was still hot, and it looked so good. So I was standing in line waiting to pay for them. And as I was standing in line, I kind of got a tap on my shoulder, so I turned around, and it's this girl that was kind of, like, exchanging looks with. And she's like, hey, I'm sorry, but you look so familiar, and I can't place, like, where I know you from. Like, do you know me? And I'm like, yeah, like, I was feeling the same way when I saw you. Like, I feel like I know you, but I don't know where I know you from, but you look so familiar. And she kind of looks at me for a couple of seconds, and she's like, did you go to, and then, like, says the name of one of the high schools that I went to. I'm like, oh, yeah, like, I did. She's like, oh, is your name Rainy? Like, obviously she didn't say Rainy, she said my real name. And I was like, yeah, it is. And she's like, oh, right. And then she told me her name, and, like, I'm not going to use her real name, but let's call her Michaela. She's like, oh, yeah, like, my name's Michaela. Do you remember me? I'm like, oh, yeah, I do remember you. I had a lot of classes with you in, like, first semester of that year. She's like, yeah, we did have a lot of classes together. And, we kind of made, like, the awkward small talk. She's like, oh, well, like, how have you been? I'm like, I haven't been too bad. I've kind of just been, like, working, doing my thing. Did not mention the YouTube channel because I don't really tell people about that. And then she asked me, she's like, are you and, like, I'm not going to say the name. She's like, are you and the ex person, like, still, like, in contact or together? No, we're not. I told her that. I didn't get into the details. And, like, I've told you guys this in a video before, but, like, if you want that story, get this channel to 1K. I'm not wavering on that. I don't care if it never happens. 1K and that story can happen. But anyways, I kind of told her, like, no, we haven't been for a long time. I don't, like, talk to them anymore. And I'm with someone currently, and I'm very happy. She's like, oh, that's awesome. Like, I'm really glad to hear that. Like, I'm glad you're happy. I'm like, yeah, thanks. Like, so how are you doing? Like, what are you up to? She's like, oh, I'm doing really good. Like, I'm kind of just living my life day by day, and, like, it's it's been really fun. And see, this was a pretty normal conversation so far, but then she hit me with something I didn't really expect her to say. She's told me, she's like, yeah, I actually model for Playboy now. And then I was thinking, like, what? And I suppose now's a good time to mention that she was wearing, like, a Playboy tank top and, like, sweatpants with, like, the Playboy bunny on it. Like, she was decked out in the merch for sure. And, I mean, obviously I can't confirm if she was, like, telling me the truth or not. I'm not going to go looking for evidence, but I didn't really see a reason to not believe her. But I'm like, oh, that's fun. She's like, yeah, that's actually one of the better reactions I've got to that. I'm like, oh, what do you mean? She's like, well, not everyone is, like, super understanding about doing stuff like that. I mean, like, me personally, like, I don't care. If that's what you want to do, if that's your thing, you're comfortable with that, make the money. You go for it. So I kind of just said, like, oh, well, like, it's up to each person. Like, they kind of, you're going to do what you're going to do. It's your life. It's up to you. She's like, yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. At this point, it kind of hit the point of the conversation where it's like, you don't really know how to keep going with the conversation, so you kind of just, like, stand there awkwardly. Luckily for me, as that happened, it was like, we got the call for, like, going to board the plane. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I should probably go find my family and board the plane with them. But, like, it was nice seeing you. She's like, oh, yeah, like, it was nice seeing you, too. I'm like, hey, see ya, have a good one. Now, there's a couple flights going out at the same time, and, like, she kind of walked away, like, towards a different gate. So I didn't think she was on our flight. It turned out she was. She ended up sitting next to my mom, and she kind of, like, gave me an awkward smile as she sat down, which was kind of funny, but it was really awkward. So I kind of just, like, put my earbuds in and, like, slept, kind of. And I didn't actually end up seeing her when we got off the plane, so I don't really have any more to it other than that. But yeah, guys, that pretty much wraps up the story time. It just goes to show you never know where people are going to end up after high school. Because I remember Michaela in high school was, I don't know, she was an interesting human. She was interesting. She was different. She was one of those alt girls who kind of had a new personality every 3 seconds. But yeah, you never know where people are going to end up. Anyways, guys, like I said, that's going to wrap up this story time. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like if you did. Subscribe if you're new. We are so dangerously close to 500 subs. It's insane. Thank you all so much for that. I love you all so much from the bottom of my heart. And thank you all so much for watching. Hope you continue to watch, and I'll catch you on the next one. Later.